Listen, so I always thought that Nissan Almera was a bit of a hidden gem in the B-segment sedan space, you know? But it never really propelled Nissan to the top spot. Why is that? It dared to actually be good looking for once. It actually dared to have a plush cabin, a big boot still, good looks. It just had a turbo engine. It also had all the things going for it, except it also dared to push the B-segment sedan space upmarket. But the thing is, these days as well, every competitor that it has also went upmarket, just like the new old boy that's come back around, the Toyota Vios.
This is the 2023 Toyota Vios, now making waves with the 4th generation model here in Malaysia. It's not a surprise that this is the most anticipated, or one of the most anticipated models to be launched this year, with prices starting from 89,600 to 95,500 ringgit. You know, it's clear that the Vios is still one of the reigning kings of the sedans here in the country, no matter how you look at it. Design, powertrain, comfort, as well as safety. So for today, we're just going to have a little friendly competition between the Vios and the Almera. Now, with the 4th generation Vios, I have to say that this is by far the best looking Vios to date. With the new fastback design, sleek LED taillights, air vents, 17-inch alloy rims, and the equally sporty rear end, makes it a very desirable car to own and drive. So when it comes to the exterior design, I have to say that the new Toyota Vios is definitely a win in my book. I mean, just look at it. With the longer wheelbase, I mean, how can you not like something that looks great as this? Alright, moving on to boot space, the 4th generation Toyota Vios comes with a 475-litre boot capacity, and it's probably enough for a fun weekend getaway with your family. But if you feel like you need to hide some valuables while you're away, you can do that with this. So if you look, there are some hidden compartments underneath the main storage area. Again, how can you not like something like this?
I just can't get over the way this thing looks, guys. It looks really, really good. It's almost too classy to be a B-segment sedan. Look, the older car was quite bulbous, not really that good looking, but this is anything but. It's sleek, everything is just clean, sharp lines. And Nissan calls it emotional geometry, but I don't care about all this design language, beauty speak, okay? I just know that first impressions, it looks good, and that's all I care about. Things I like, okay, stand out is the V-Motion front end. Very nice, aggressive, but still classy, like I said, okay? You have LED DRLs, LED headlights. I like that. The color, like I said, I love. 16-inch wheels. Also, nice, elegant, classy. I even like the way this Tomei body kit looks on this car, even though it is a 8,000 ringgit apparently, an 8,000 ringgit extra. But at least you get a huge boot, guys. The old Almera was known for its huge boot, and the new one is huge too. 482 liters, okay, of space. To put that into perspective, okay, you have the C-segment Honda Civic at 497 liters. This is almost C-segment size. And by the way, SUVs are more practical? False. The X50, Proton X50 has a 330 liter boot. This is much bigger.
So the interior is just as impressive, with what I would say a well-kitted cabin as compared to the previous generation Vios. So you have the multi-function steering wheel, which is not something that you would shout about, but Toyota has taken it up a notch with the new dashboard design by including a 7-inch TFT display for the driver, a 9-inch freestanding infotainment screen with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, ergonomic seats for front and rear, and to make things even more premium, you see this button? It also comes with a 64-color ambient lighting. I've actually had the pleasure to own a 2nd generation Vios in the past, and to me it was a damn good car, but it fails miserably when compared to this new Vios for things like comfort, practicality and versatility, not just for the driver, but for the rest of the occupants within the cabin.
I mean, talk about a step up, right? The Almera now is pretty plush inside, okay? If you have the older car, or you've driven the older car, this one will blow you away. You have materials in here that are not exactly really premium. You know, you have hard plastics, soft plastics, scattered everywhere, okay? But there are attempts to make this feel a little bit more upmarket. You have this glossy black, you know, piano black finish down the gear lever over here. accented with, on the door panel, you have this fake carbon weave material. But as I sit here, there's nothing really that stands out to me as cheap or chintzy. It just feels like I'm paying like a B segment, an upper B segment class car. So you have the seats over here, and Nissan calls them zero gravity seats. They researched them to make them feel like you're in zero gravity because they're comfortable and supportive, whatever. It's a good, comfortable seat. It's fine. But I really like these gray accents. Nissan calls it gray. I call these accents on the seats, on the dashboard as well, off-white, kind of bone white. And it really elevates the entire interior, because every interior so far that you see in the normal cars are just black, 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 black. This really elevates the whole experience. And then you have this nicely integrated 8-inch infotainment display. Of course, you get Apple CarPlay as well. You got a screen, a semi-digital, semi-analog cluster over here. It's a nice place to be. You have 3 USBs, and also you have automatic climate control, which I think in the B segment is something that is not so usual. All right, so back seats. Look, I have quite a lot of thigh support actually, pretty nice. I have a lot of leg room, decent amount of headroom as well, but there are compromises with every car, right? So you have the rear-view camera over there, which is quite low resolution, but at least you get trajectory, okay? And importantly, you don't get any air conditioning vents for the rear seats.
Moving on to the engine. So, the new Vios comes with a 1.5-litre dual VVTi engine with 106 PS and 138 Nm of torque. Now, this is mated to a 7-speed CVT transmission, which is not entirely new, but the chassis is, because the new Vios is now built on the new DNGA platform. So, rated at 5.2 litres per 100 km, it is also very fuel efficient, but it's also very comfortable and exciting to drive.
So if you're in the market for a B7 sedan with a turbocharger, this is the only option really. And I know the numbers don't really tell the full story, 100 PS, whatever, okay, put it in your mind. This is not a slow car, okay? And to prove that, well, let's just find a straight bit of road and settle the score.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
So we've already talked about the engine, and it is something that we are all very familiar with, but the feeling now is completely different in a very good way, because the new Vios now rides on the new DNGA platform. So it is now more dynamic and agile than ever, but at the same time equally as comfortable. So the new chassis seems to work really well with the enhanced suspension system, and it is indeed a bliss to drive no matter the road conditions. And it also offers a very quiet and comfortable driving experience for the driver as well as the other occupants in the car. As for fuel consumption, it's also a big win for the 2023 Toyota Vios with a rating of 5.2 litres per 100 km when you're driving it sensibly. But if you want a sportier driving performance, just switch the driving mode to drive and then push the gear lever to the right, and then you can play around with the paddle shifters or the gear lever itself, and off you go.
Oh, whoa, 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 oh, that was too fast. Got 100 PS. 100, yeah, 100. But that doesn't tell the whole story, guys, because this feels quicker. This feels just more alert, more ready to give you speed, give you revs, not revs, but give you torque. You get peak torque at 2,400 RPM, which is actually quite high. Sustained to 4,000 RPM. I put my foot down a little bit, and there's no discernible like shifts, like changing in ratios for the CVT. Every car in the B segment today has a CVT. The City does. This one, maybe coupled with that turbocharger, keeps it at fairly low revs. So it doesn't have to go really, really high to find you performance, and therefore you won't have that rubber banding sensation, you won't have that whininess that you would expect of a CVT. So it's a sweeter thing to drive. Highway speeds, okay, going 110, 120, you can barely feel it. I guess it's also down to the fact that this has some decent sound insulation materials. Maybe it's the tires as well. These are Continental Ultra Contact 6, and the engine felt very smooth, didn't feel strained at all, and it wasn't even like I was trying to always, the CVT was trying so hard to just manage the sweet spot. This is the kind of car that if you read the numbers, you won't be too impressed by. Yes, got turbocharger, yeah, 1 liter, 3-cylinder, okay, but you got to go to test drive it to really believe or experience for yourself what those numbers mean.
Okay, now Jim has given me the chance to drive the Nissan Almera, and honestly this is the first time that I'm in the driver's seat of the new Almera. So first impressions is not bad. I think the comfort levels is very good. The engine feels very quick to react, and the chassis is not wobbling as much as I initially anticipated. I think the suspension is also quite good. It's not as busy as I thought it would be, because I've been driving the Vios for a few days now, and yeah, handling is very easy when it comes to driving the Almera. The only thing that would favor the Vios more is how the interior looks as compared to the Almera, because to me, if you ask me right now, the Almera looks slightly dated, not so much, but then when you put it side by side with the Vios, of course the Vios looks more well equipped. You can also say that the engine performance is also quite sporty, despite not having paddle shifters that are available in the Vios. But when it comes to your daily drives, yeah, I think it will get the job done fairly well. And as you can see, the handling is also very good for a sedan of this nature. So if anyone asks me how the Nissan Almera feels like to drive, I would say that it's pretty good. I'm enjoying the drive more than I initially thought that I would. It's a good car.
Okay, let me just get a sense of what's in this car. It looks pretty nice. The steering rack feels very solid. It gives you a sense like this is a much more sturdy car, a much more solid car, bigger car even than it actually is. Because still, come on, this is a B segment car. Climbing hills in the CVT, the 1.5 liter NA, which, come on, let's be honest, you can find in the Myvi. Yeah, it struggles a little bit. I miss the turbocharger. I miss it. There's certain things in here that upstage the Almera, and I think definitely Toyota has considered that. They were like, okay, Almera beat us to it. They were the first ones kind of to go up market and deliver a more, luxurious-ish experience. So we gotta beat them at their own game. And there's certain things we can't do or won't do. We won't put a turbocharger in here, but we'll make this car pretty dang impressive for the money. It feels like it's almost worth the money, guys. I know it's a tough one to swallow because we're all used to paying a certain amount of money, or lack thereof, for B segment cars, but as they have gone up market, it's not like we don't get anything back. We get more features, we get more plushness in the cabin, we get a nicer driving experience. Certain things I'm seeing over here, yeah, the plastics aren't great, but overall, if you don't really go around poking everywhere, it feels really good. I'm impressed. Vios is way better than it used to be.
So if you ask me, I'm of course a bit biased with the Toyota Vios. Now, I've owned one in the past, and it was bulletproof to say the least. Nothing went wrong whatsoever to the point where I sold it off, and I can imagine the same thing when it comes to the 4th generation model. All you need to worry about is just getting it serviced on time. That's it. It is indeed a very exciting package to own when you look at things like sporty design, comfortable ride, fuel-efficient powertrain, and a complete safety package thanks to the Toyota Safety Sense. So you're definitely getting more than what you paid for when you look at the asking price of 95,500 ringgit for this range-topping 1.5G variant.
For 96,000 ringgit, a little bit more, I think the Almera is a complete package because you have all the boxes ticked. You have all the active safety stuff. It looks so much better than the predecessor. It looks still pretty fresh despite being the oldest one technically on the market. and the cabin is way plush. You get a turbo engine as well, which I can't emphasize enough. So I still think it's a hidden gem, but we all know the real winner here, guys, the Honda City. So anyway, let us know what you think in the comments. Like if you like it, dislike if you dislike this video. If you want more content like this, of course, subscribe. Ciao, guys.
Ciao.